Lincoln's best remarks and quotes, and Lincoln's biography. 47 and 7 years ago, our fathers were conceived in liberty, dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. It was born on this continent, a new country. The beginning of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address was. It's one of the most famous things in American history. It's about the ideals and ideals of our nation's founding to everyone. Reminds me of the ongoing struggle to make it a reality. A divided house cannot stand. In his speech before Lincoln was elected president, to warn against the dangers of slavery and regionalism, you used this phrase. It has since been fragmented and weakened by internal strife. It became a general metaphor for all groups. Without malice to anyone, without charity for all. This quote was from Lincoln just a few weeks before he was assassinated. It's from my second inaugural address. It's in the midst of a bitter, divided war. It shows his spirit of forgiveness and compassion. I have a strong faith in the people. If the truth is given, they will be able to cope with any national crisis. The most important thing is to tell them the real facts. Lincoln said that for a healthy democracy, they believed that citizens who knew and participated in information were essential. He devoted himself to the transparency and honesty of the government, even when it was difficult to hear the truth. My concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is whether I am on God's side. Lincoln was religious, in order to justify political action. They also recognized the dangers of using religion, rather than claiming God's protection for his own cause. I believed it was more important to do the right thing. All in all, President Lincoln's comments and quotations are. It reminds us of the importance of integrity, honesty, and compassion in leadership. They believe that despite our great challenges and divisions, inspires you to work towards a more perfect union. A biography of President Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809. I was born in a log cabin in Kentucky. His family moved to Indiana when he was 7 years old. He moved to Illinois when he was 21. Lincoln was self-taught with almost a year of formal education. Before he entered politics in the 1830s, he was a store clerk. I worked as a postmaster, surveyor, and lawyer. Lincoln was elected president in 1860. He served in the Illinois legislature and the United States House of Representatives. He led the country through the Civil War, preserving the Union and liberating slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln is just a Confederate surrender. He was assassinated a few days later in 1865. One of Lincoln's most famous motivational quotes is, it comes from his second inaugural address in 1865. Jesus said, without malice to anyone, have mercy on everyone. Just as God gave us to see what is right, we'll do what we're in charge of. Tie up the wounds of the nation. He takes care of him who will bear the fight. Let's try to take care of his widow and orphan. Between us and all peoples. To achieve a just and lasting peace. It's about doing everything you cherish. This quote often shows Lincoln's deep compassion for reconciliation and it's considered an expression of commitment. Despite the tremendous suffering caused by the Civil War, he heals the wounds of the nation. I tried to move forward with unity and compassion. What he said is that we've gone beyond our differences. Inspires us to strive for a just and peaceful world. After Lincoln was elected president in 1860, some southern states led the outbreak of the Civil War. It separated from the Federation. Throughout the war, Lincoln had military frustration, political opposition, and the lives that were sacrificed on both sides of the war. Faced with enormous challenges, including continuous tragedies, nevertheless, he preserved the Union. He devoted himself to ending slavery. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, issued in 1863. All the slaves in Confederate territory. I declared that I would be free. Although it did not immediately liberate all slaves. It's a war for freedom and justice. It helped turn it into a moral struggle. Lincoln's commitment to liberation. All men are created equal. You have the right to equal rights and opportunities. Based on his belief, Lincoln was killed just a few weeks before his assassination. In his second inaugural address, he said, "Unification and I wanted to present a vision of reconciliation. He ties the wounds of the nation." He said he needed to take care of those who suffered as a result of the war. He also told the American people that, in the United States and with other countries, he urged us to strive for a just and lasting peace, with malice towards anyone, doing charity for everyone, quote. Maybe in Lincoln's second inaugural address, it's probably the most famous phrase. In the midst of great suffering and division, it symbolizes the spirit of forgiveness and compassion. This quote is, "Let's put aside our differences aside, towards the common goal of peace and justice." It speaks to the importance of trying. All in all, Lincoln's life and his words. In spite of great challenges and divisions, we're going to go to a better world. It keeps inspiring me to work. His commitment to equality, liberty, and compassion is the ideals that made America a great country for us. To make that ideal a reality for everyone reminds you of any work in progress required. A famous quote from Lincoln: "To have malice towards anyone, to have charity for everyone." In the aftermath of the Civil War, it often seems to demand unity and reconciliation. This quote is from a few weeks before his assassination. It comes from the second inaugural address on March 4, 1865. At the time of the speech, the Civil War was raging for 4 years. The country is deeply divided. Lincoln was just re-elected president, decided to heal the wounds of the nation and rebuild the Federation. To move forward as a nation, he's a man of great importance. To those who opposed him, I believed it was important to show compassion and forgiveness. The phrase, "with malice to no one," often appears to reject bitterness and vengeance. Lincoln gave up his anger and anger against the American people, towards the common goal of peace and prosperity. I urged them to work together. The phrase, "for charity for all," regardless of their differences, it's similar to appealing for generosity and kindness to others. Lincoln's words are still meaningful today, because we continue to deal with the problem of division and polarization. His emphasis on unification, forgiveness, and compassion is on that. "Let's unite together as a nation." Reminds you of the importance of working towards a common goal. It transcends time and gives us all a message that remains a powerful inspiration. Subscribe and like give me a lot of strength.